What's up, Phase Zero? BD here, fresh out of some spoiler-filled interviews about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania with director Peyton Reed and writer Jeff Loveness. Meanwhile, Jenna Anderson was talking to Corey Stoll all about MODOK, and we are finally allowed to share the details with you in this spoiler-filled video, from the credit scenes to a very deadly Avengers the Kang Dynasty tease. So hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the Phase Zero channel. Let's jump in. Let's start with the scary part. Jeff Loveness, who wrote Quantumania and is currently at work on Avengers the Kang Dynasty's script, admitted he didn't want to kill off the major characters here because it might be too expected in a third film, but he did say, quote, "I think for these bloodthirsty fans, there's a little movie called Avengers the Kang Dynasty. I think he'll bring the heat." Kang has been very deadly in comics and in animation, and one of the things I really wanted to see was Kang freezing time around him, which is terrifying if you think about it for all the heroes who are just stuck frozen. It didn't happen in Quantumania, but it did seem to happen in the Loki finale, where it looked like the Kang variant was just teleporting. He Who Remains was likely actually stopping time for a moment, moving, and then essentially pressing play again. As for Scott Lang, well, he might have just punched Thanos in the face when the Avengers could have had it all won, metaphorically. Here's what Loveness had to say about the end of Quantumania, which was reshot earlier this year. As much as he just wants to shut up and have a piece of cake and make up for his lost time with his daughter by giving her a random birthday, he knows that he can't quite shake that feeling, and I think it's interesting, without saying too much, is the guy who literally saved the universe in Endgame might accidentally be the guy who f***s the multiverse in its next saga. Some strong language from Loveness, but I think he's hyping up a strong character in the future, and maybe a strong mistake by Ant-Man. Rumors online claimed a version of Quantumania ended with Scott and Hope being trapped in the quantum realm, but Loveness explained why this was not what we got in the theatrical version of the film. As much as you can see that point about stranding Scott and Hope down there or whatever, at the end of the day, it is just repeating the same beat from the second movie. That just was a hurdle that you couldn't eventually get over, and then also it kind of affects Avengers in the same way. Well, then you're just stuck doing the same beat from Endgame as well, getting out of the quantum realm. You heard it here first. The entire universe can only be saved by a rat walking across the keyboard once in the MCU. As for the ending, and by that I mean the credit scenes, Peyton Reed shared some insights about what was going on there. Check this out.
I directed the first one, which is the Council of Kangs scene. And we did this in terms of there's a very famous comic panel where you see the Council of Kangs and all these variants in there. And we definitely wanted to recreate that and kind of give Jonathan a starting point to deal with who do we bring in of the variants. There's Rama Tut, and there's a character based on Scarlet Centurion, and then of course Immortus. And just, we wanted to go full like Kurosawa Ran with it and make it really operatic. And then the end credits thing is a tease for Loki season 2.
If I look at that scene where all those Kangs are in there,
yeah,
are there very specifically planted Kangs, or can you talk about anybody I might see in there?
There are some different Kangs, and part of it was coming up with sort of different quick versions, and it was sitting down with Jonathan and with Stephen Broussard and talking about like, this one could be perceived as this Kang, but what we really wanted to show was really just like the totality of it, like how many variants there might be. Like, when we get to that final panel, trying to recreate that famous panel of the Council of Kangs, right down to the sort of like weird alien-looking Kang in the top right corner, was really fun to do. And Jonathan, of course, that's his sweet spot, is like playing all these different versions of Kang. He loves it.
The comic book Peyton Reed is referencing in that interview clip is Avengers number 267, which is the first appearance of the Council of Kangs, which is surprisingly still going for reasonable prices online. So if you want to get your hands on it, I say go for it, because there is an exact image from those pages brought to the MCU in live action in this credit scene. By the way, if you looked at this scene closely, you would notice that the Kang variants, many of them, were arriving in this Coliseum using the same technology to teleport themselves as Earth 838's Reed Richards used in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The second scene, being from Loki season 2, is interesting for many reasons. One, Victor Timely has ties to the original Human Torch in comics, which was referenced in the MCU all the way back in the first Captain America movie. 2, Loki and Mobius seem to know each other again now after Mobius was revealed to apparently be a variant of himself in the final moments of Loki's season 1 finale, and he didn't know who Loki was. And 3, this marks the return of Moon Knight's directors Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead as they went on to direct Loki Season 2, and this scene was pulled straight from the upcoming Disney Plus episodes. Now what would a Quantumania video be without talking about MODOK? Not only did Phase Zero's Jenna Anderson enlighten Corey Stoll to the fact that the internet, all of you, are going wild about MODOK's booty scene, to which he informed her the scene was almost cut and he lobbied pretty hard to keep it in there, but he also opened up about the character's death in Quantumania. Stoll said, well, it was a very mixed thing because it's first and foremost an amazing death and is the best scene I got to play in the movie, so you wouldn't want to lose that. But it also means nobody, you can always bring people back in these movies, but it makes it that much less likely to come back, so that was sad. R.I.P. MODOK, pouring out for the homie. Died an Avenger, what a guy. I'll let you in on a little secret now. We're working on a special episode with a special guest who was named in this very video, so stay tuned and subscribe to the Phase Zero channel and podcast. Hit me up at Brandon Davis BD or drop a comment to talk more about Quantumania's ending if you have any questions. And for more info about these interviews, head over to comicbook.com/Marvel and stay tuned to Phase Zero. I'm BD, I'll see you there.